We each grow up differently, with us each having our own set of morals, rules we set for ourselves. And there will come a time when they're tested, and from this we may realize we might have been wrong. And there comes a time in our lives where we have to grow up, having to sometimes get our hands a little dirty so that people behind us won't have to suffer, making us make decisions we normally wouldn't want to make, because there are people under us who are depending on you, and they are looking at you to make a tough decision. That's what it means to be a leader. That's what it means to be an adult. Hello, my name is Barry, and this is my Darwin's Game anime review. Now, I've already made a video about Darwin's Game before, with me already going over the basic idea of the show. I'll leave a link down below in the description as well as a connotation to the side, but let's continue. Now, Darwin's Game is in the small subcategory of animes, being in the survival anime game genre, with it being where an admin would bring in the potential players, with the players able to win a prize or simply die. In most of the games like this, the players are forced to play, and they cannot escape. In this game category, I would include SAO, but I think they'd rather be recognized as the pioneer of isekai rather than put into this category, and I don't blame them for that. Stories like this don't happen in other worlds, but in the modern era, where you have the chance of potential plot holes, such as the police, or the potential bystander. Or wait, I'm forgetting one. Oh, what is it? Oh yes, it's the boring high schoolers that normally play these games. To be honest, this is in an unpopular niche that has the capability of really being interesting, but they never seem to catch on or do well. The anime best known for this in recent years has been BarryAnime. Besides that, the rest have been forgettable and simply pathetic. Well, at least until this year. The plot. The plot follows this. Kaname's two friends have been able to earn serious amount of money by playing this death game, but unfortunately for the both of them, it doesn't go all too well, making one of them phone in for help and the other one dying in a corner, giving the admins access to invite Kaname into the game. Kaname turns out to have a great knack for the game, even though he doesn't want to play it. Throughout the anime, he's mostly running and trying to use his head to come up with a way to get out of the game or not kill anyone at all. The story takes you through the view of a normal person who is in a world of killers, with the theme of having to pressure him into becoming a killer in order to survive, putting you in a constant state of fear and pressure, and you'll see why I say that in a second. In some animes, it's hard to see them, but it can be simply defined as the rules the creator made for the world. The minute they change a fundamental rule, we know something is wrong. In game-based animes like this one, it's easy to follow because they lay it out in the beginning or just tell you along the way. You can either download the game, or you can be invited by people in your contact list, as well as being handpicked by the admin. Once in the game, the admin will give you a sigil, based on the individual that's joined the game. Sigils can range from being OP and weak. It all doesn't matter too much because it depends mostly on how good the player is that will determine how long they actually last in the game. When in the game, players will not receive any outside help. This means no police or hospitals. Players who also talk too much about the game die right there on the spot. Battles can range from one-on-one combat to a team battle. Prizes can range from large sums of money to a position of power. Now, the complaint with the rules that people don't like is that they are always changing. But if you listen, you would hear that that's how the admin wants it to be, because he's constantly changing the game to make it interesting. He changed it before when it was the Wong period, and now he's going to change it again because it's now the Kaname period. You can call it interesting, or you can just call it lazy writing. But I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, the characters. Let's start with the protagonist Kaname. Now, by the end of the anime, he becomes quite the strong and capable leader. that no one wants to mess with, leading a small team of elite players, but that's not where he starts. In the beginning, we see how skilled in problem solving he is, able to come up with a quick and sound plan when backed into a corner, with an helpful dose of luck. Kaname really wasn't able to understand his sigil at the beginning, or how to use it. When he was in a pressure situation, a dark undertone talks under his normal consciousness, with him instinctually being a confident, calm, and crafty fighter, rather than the normal character we first see. His sigil allows him to conjure up weapons and objects that he's seen before. With how Shuka explains it, makes him one of the strongest players in general. After learning what his sigil exactly is and how to use it, he wants nothing more than to put a bullet through the creator's head. Having to have all his friends from his previous life face bloody and gruesome ends because of this game, with now having an understandable reason for wanting revenge, seeing that all his friends were actually good guys who wanted to help him out, making him have to grow up into the assassin-like leader he becomes, who kills but only when it's necessary or when people break the rules he sets. But unfortunately, we don't get to see that until the final moments of the anime. Really, you had to wait till like the last episode of the anime for us to get this. Okay, whatever. I'm not mad. Now let's transition over to Shuka. Shuka is the Yuno to Kaname's Yuki. If you've seen Mirai Nikki or Date A Live, you know exactly what this character is. She's a little less crazier than Yuno, and about the same level of crazy that Kurame is, making her the yandere girlfriend of your dreams. Shuka is the skilled, telekinetic type user that can control any string-based like object, which is oddly specific and doesn't make sense. So you're telling me you can pick up this heavy chain, but this ordinary household spoon is out of your control? Like, what sense does that actually make? Having the simple but crazy reason for playing the game, she lost her family to this game and wants revenge on the man who killed her parents. She kills to get to that goal and tries to rebuild a family by having a new clan. As you can tell, she's not all the way there. After losing to Kaname, she's generally completely defers to him, making herself just a tool to his plan. She does love the main lead, but under a normal setting, she wouldn't. But this is an anime, so it's not surprising that she does. Let's talk about Rain. Rain being the stockbroker and another member of Kaname's clan. As a player, she is calculated and likes to remain in the shadows. She's a young middle schooler with the sigil to know the function of the world around her, being able to analyze, predict, and see what will happen in the future. Basically being the smartest character in the anime. You could say that she has the most OP sigil in the game, and I won't argue with that. She becomes the best way for the writers to add in a new character into the story. She has potential to actually help out in the story. Now let's talk about Ryuji, the lie detector. He's able to get a good character development scene with Kaname, showing how big luck can actually play in the anime. As far as his sigil, it works great in a team setting, but not for a one-on-one death game. He has a personal grudge with the 8 clan, but nothing else of importance to the story, or to his character. Sue and Soda.
Yeah, that's handy. If you really wanted to, you could use it to slaughter your enemies by slowly wringing all the moisture out of their bodies.
Having an OP water sigil, who would have made a great, and I mean great enemy and sigil for the enemy of this series, but we don't get that. We get another OP character to just throw into the main character's backpack. Continue. Shulan, the current #1 player in D-Game, would have made a great enemy. Still has potential to do something in the future, being the professional assassin girl she is, but like Shuka, wants Kaname's dick. I'm generally frustrated with the characters. The animation. This is the only part of the review that I simply do not like to talk about. This is because of all the people who just have an opinion about the topic. The meaning of animation is all about the liveliness of the scene, the vigor, the spirit. It's not about how you like the art style, because let me tell you something, we all have our own art style that we think looks best. We all have our own styles we simply can't stand. As someone who's had to find my own art style in my artistic journey, you will not be pleased by everyone. But as far as animation goes, it has nothing to do with the style. It is about the technique of the photography, or the position of the shot. So when people say it's bad animation or the art style is so bad, you are not talking about the same thing. But as far as the actual animation in this anime, it is nor bad nor something to write home about. It's just mediocre. It's not as great as Natsuno Arashi series or the Monogatari series. It's as good as most seasonal animes, right? It's okay, but it is not bad. So there you go. Soundtrack. Now this one is another first for me as well, but I think I'm going to make this an mandatory requirement for the reviewing of animes. Now generally I like to hear people's reviews on certain animes and how they think about how certain animes hold up, but when it comes to reviewing the soundtrack for this anime, I don't want to hear anyone's review on it. Simply saying because I've heard people say that they think the soundtrack for this anime was just bad and it was just crazy forgettable and stuff like that. But here I have the soundtrack right here with the Spotify link if you would like to listen alongside with me reviewing it. I'm going to directly compare Chains and Alive from the artists ASCA and Mashiro Ayano. Sure, I understand if you say that Alive is just an okay song, but Chains is a banger. I would happily put this on my Spotify rotation for anime music, of course. I don't speak Japanese, but this is a nice song. The soundtrack even includes songs and artists from the Fate series, from SAO, from Tokyo Ghoul, and you can say what you want about those animes, but you can't deny they have some of the most memorable songs in anime, from the past decade at least. Like I said, the soundtrack is not trash. Link in the description. It's a banger. Now let's talk about the meat and potatoes of this anime review. The final review. The anime is good, and man does it give you a thrill from episode to episode. The problem I thought this anime would have is being the same as most in the niche, with it being that you get so much of the thrill with finding out who dies that it doesn't have the best rewatch potential, as say a shonen, a comedy, or a romance anime. And while I think that most is true, because of the way they packaged the first episode as a 15-minute episode, it really gives you a little bit of time to get into the anime, as well as the ending being good enough to just pick up and watch from there. I will say, while I find the first and last episodes to be good, the middle was not, especially that 4.5 special episode that we did not need. Why did you give us that? But for a fundamental problem this anime has, it's not like the Hunger Games, where you have a whole country dedicated to this game. It's supposed to be an underground game. I understand how the admin makes a sound in the airwaves and makes everyone in the area just leave, right? I get that now. But how come no one seems to have any leads to find suspects of the events that just happened? Because, you should not be able to just blow up a building and cause casualties in the thousands and no one have any questions at all. Or be able to just, kill a cop casually, I might add, in the daytime and nothing happens to you. This story is taking place in Japan, people. Japan is one of the safest places in the world. And you're telling me that nothing happens? That no one's asking questions? Taking out any outside interference or danger is the same thing as being in another world or in a virtual game. But instead of that, you are telling us in this real world and to just look the other way because people are dumb. Which is the problem with doing this in the modern setting. If this was in a game, that would be different. Another problem in this anime is the amount of time that was spent in the scavenger hunt arc and having to dedicate that time to a boring characters. And since we're still on the topic of characters, let's talk about how the OP or strong challenges are either dead or on Kaname's team. Some people have a problem with how sigils don't seem to be fairly balanced around, forcibly making the weak follow the strong in order to survive. But in a game with a unlimited amount of potential sigils, all the strong ones seem to just end up on his team. Which is, I'm just saying, making it like this makes it not exciting. It's like having all the characters in Mirai Nikki not try and kill each other, or the Hunger Games not being the Hunger Games, the murder, death, kill games. We would just rather the people in the death games try and kill each other and, be the death games, instead of us having to hope this anime would just grow into that. But it just becomes a boring battle royale with potential, kind of just being the prologue to the real story. And throughout watching this entire anime, that's the entire thing I get from the end of it. This is pretty much a prologue to what really should be happening. Now, I don't think it's bad. I just think it needed more in the story. It needed more episodes. If you got 24 rather than, 11 that it got, this would be closer to an 8 out of 10 rather than what it is right now. And I don't mean if they slow down the story. No, none of that. I mean, it's already slow enough. If they just added in from the 11th episode to make 24 and give us more of a complete showing, this would be 8 out of 10. But it's more like a 7 than anything, which is a rating I would give most seasonal animes too. But this one just had potential and just wasted it and disappointed people, being the type of anime you'll just forget about. But that's been my review. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and check out some more reviews I have coming up. Hey, put down our anime you want me to review. Hope everyone's doing safe through these periods of, Corona. I'm staying locked up in my closet at the moment. Kind of cramped. But anyways, BarryAnime out. Peace.